everyone, welcome to another Wednesday Ranger Facebook Live. Kelly Karnowski, Ranger Social Media Manager. I'm happy to be with you here today. Today we are going to be talking about some fun Literate products and how they can be used to create quick and easy cards. As many of you probably all know, we've had a very busy morning here at Ranger. Tim announced his new distress color, which is Speckled Egg, and so it's just been a morning full of excitement and just pure craziness. But we are all so excited about the new color, and Speckled Egg might be making a little appearance in one of the projects that I'm going to share with you today. Before we get started, as always, please share the video and comment below, and you'll be entered into my raffle to win a prize package. And it's always an assortment of the products that I use in the live, so any shares would be greatly appreciated. I will flip the camera around and talk to you a little bit about what we're going to be making today and what products we'll be focusing on. So here's some samples. Let me flip the camera and get the comments rolling. Hey everyone. Oh, tell me I'm not seeing comments. Let's see. I see some likes. Definitely, if you're here, give me a comment so I can hopefully start seeing them. For some reason, they're not showing. Oh, there are. Hi, Diane. Thank you so much. Okay, so today we are using some Literate products. Excited for the new ink color. Isn't it beautiful? It's a great color. It's one of my favorite colors. So really excited about that color. Hey David, thanks for tuning in again. Okay, so I'm just gonna pull this little image right up here for a second. So in the corner there, you can see those are our Literate sentiment packs and die cuts, foil die cuts. And a lot of people don't know we actually have these products. So I thought, let me do a live focusing on those so that you can see exactly what they are and what you can do with them and how it makes it so easy to create really fun, simple, quick and easy cards, gift tags, things like that, and maybe give you guys some ideas of what you can do with them. So that is what we're going to be focusing on today. These are some of my samples down below here. Hi, Kim from Michigan. So, and actually in this card down here, there it is, the Speckled Egg. So we're gonna definitely be using some of that today. Yes, it is a beautiful color. So let me pull these aside and I'm gonna just talk to you a little bit about the die cut packs and the sentiment packs. And so we'll just go through them and then we'll get to making. How is everyone today? Did everybody watch Tim's live? Because it was pretty exciting. I knew what the color was and I was excited. So, yes, and here it is. Here's the ink pad right here. Look at that beautiful color, Speckled Egg. So super excited about the pins. Just lots of good things. Denise, you love the new color. Okay, hey Jen, thanks for tuning in. Okay, so sentiment packs. So what these are pre-printed sentiment packs. They come in celebration and greetings. They have various hand-lettered sayings on them. They're printed in a light gray so that you could actually trace over these in whatever medium you want and decorate them. So in the first pack, we have, I'll hold it up a little bit. Hooray, let's celebrate, make a wish, it's your birthday, celebrate, and cheers. And I'll take them out, and you get 2 of each of those. And they're just printed on white cardstock, so you can decorate them, you can cut them down and mount them to a folded card, anything like that. There's endless options with these. You can trace, my hands have ink on them, and I'm getting the ink on the cards already. So you can trace right over these in any kind of marker, pen. You could use our Literate medium pens or embossing pens and trace over those. You could put perfect pearls on top, embossing powders. Like I said, any marker or our fine liner pens work great with these. So they're just basically for tracing over, or of course you can leave it the light gray as well. So we have It's Your Birthday, we have Celebrate, we have Cheers, Hooray, Let's Celebrate. And these are sized differently than our stamp sets. So obviously you can see this is like a lot larger. So it's just basically a pre-printed card that you can trace and color yourself and decorate. So it just makes for a really simple and easy card. So if you're in a hurry and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't make a card, I don't have a card for so-and-so, well, you could just pull out one of these. You can just even dot it with some stickles or liquid pearls, and you're good to go, and you have a handmade card. So this is the greetings pack here, and let's see what we have in this one. We have Hello Friend, and again, 2 of each. And it has different writing styles. Some are more faux calligraphy, some are more a little more graphic, so different writing styles. Hang in there, Just Because, Thinking of You. And if you wanted to, you could cut these out, you could decorate the top, whatever you wanted to do, the choice is yours with these. Good Vibes Only. I like to just even like, you could decorate that nice and just kind of hang it up or frame it, put it in a frame would be really cool. Oh, It's Your Birthday got mixed in. That goes in the other bag. Hello There. And then back to the Hello Friend. So that is the sentiment packs, and we will be using those today. Yeah, they are pretty cool, huh? And then the next product I wanted to share with you guys today are these awesome, and I love these. These are probably some of my favorites. These are our Literate foil die cut sets, and there's 2 different sets. There is set 1 and set 2, and they have basically different words in them as well. And you get 1 silver foil and 1 gold foil of each word. And so this one has, let's see if I can hold it up closer. Let's Celebrate, Cheers, Hip Hip Hooray, Let's Party, Hooray, and Congrats. So I'll just take those out so you can see them better. Yeah, they're beautiful, and they're actually hand lettered by, predominantly Literate is hand lettered by a Ranger in-house graphic designer, Taylor, and then we also had a few other lettering artists contribute their handwriting to some of the letters as well, and that goes with all the stamp sets. So all the stamp sets were actually hand lettered, which is really cool. So Hip Hip Hooray, and again, you see you get 1 in silver and 1 in gold, and that is for everything. And as always, after the live is done, I will link a supply list for anybody who wants more information on the products. Yes, and Diane, see, not many people are aware of these. Ranger has so many products that it's very easy to get some of them lost in the shuffle, so it's a nice reminder of some of these little great products that we don't know about. Here we have Cheers. This is great if you can even just put a hole in this and tie it to like a wine bottle or anything like that. These are great. Obviously, congrats for graduation. Obviously, graduations are happening right now. I actually took the silver one and made a little tag with it here. Just did some stickles in the background and added the die cut right on top of there. Super easy. We have Let's Celebrate. Great for any kind of celebration. And then, of course, Let's Party. So Let's Party here. And then we have this pack over here, which is kind of more thank you oriented, kind of more thank you and kind of greetings. Hang in there, thinking of you, you're the best, hello friend, best wishes, and thanks, you're the best. So these are perfect. I love this one. This is one of my favorites. This is thanks, you're the best. And you could just put that on a card and be done there. It's so simple and so easy. And I'm going to show you some fun things that you could do with these. So hang in there. Thinking of you. Hello friend. This one's really cute. It's got the little hearts. Oh, Elisa, so many amazing Ranger products, highly addicting. Yes, very true. And then of course, best wishes. I love this for like a wedding or a bridal shower. I think that's really pretty. So let's get started now that we've kind of went through those. And I think I'm gonna start with using some speckled egg. What do you guys think? We're gonna start with a sentiment pack. I'm gonna do, this is what my sample is. I'm gonna do something a little different. Maybe I'll pick a different one just so we have some variety. You know what? I'm gonna go just because. Just do something different. And I'll put this up here so you guys can still kind of see it. Get my messy craft sheet out. Oh, here we go. And what I'm going to use on this is I am going to use Literate embossing, Literate medium pens. So the Literate medium pens, they come in 2 sets of 2, so 4 pens total. And they work for both embossing and perfect pearls. And they have different nibs. So we have a brush nib, a bullet point nib, a broad tip nib, and a fine nib. So they come in 2 different sets and so 4 different pens with different nibs, and you can use it with both embossing powder as well as perfect pearls. So these are the Literate medium pens, and I'm gonna go, I like to try, sometimes I go between 2. So the thin lines I'll use like a fine tip, and the thicker lines I'll use a broader tip. So I'm gonna pick, let's see, I'll do the bullet tip, and then I'll do the broad tip. Oh, thanks Denise, I'm glad you like the sentiments, and yes to using the new speckled egg. I knew everybody was gonna be, if I didn't show speckled egg today, well, I texted Tim yesterday and I was like, you don't mind if I use speckled egg in my live tomorrow, right? And he's like, absolutely not. He's like, yes. So I was excited to be able to pull that out. I am just gonna get my embossing powder out so I'm all ready. And what else do I need? That should be it. Okay, so what you do here, super simple, easy. Again, another very relaxing craft of just going in here and just tracing right over these letters. So again, like I said, you can switch between different tips if you have some really fine lines. This actually seems to be okay for me of using just this tip, which I believe this is the bullet tip. I'll hold it up close so you can see. Can you guys see that? There you go. Look at that nice zoom. Okay, so I'm just tracing this letter here. Try and go a little bit quick, but don't want to mess it up either. So just take your time when you're tracing. So like that's like a really fine line on that S, but you know, if you go over a little bit, it's okay. But you're just basically tracing this light gray. And the great thing about the light gray printing is that it could be easily covered with most powders, most embossing powders, most marker colors. Perfect pearls will cover right over that. Obviously, of course, if you use like white or anything like that, even white might cover, to be honest, but because you could do like a resist with white, color the background and do the white, but the gray is light enough that it does cover pretty easily. So just continuing, and the great thing about these pens is they stay wet for a while, so you do have some working time. You don't have to worry about it drying out. If you wanted to do one word at a time, you could do that. But we shouldn't have a problem here. So I'm just gonna finish the entire saying here. Okay, so I'm just trying to read comments as I'm doing this. So I can't really look at the camera right now, but hope everyone's doing well, hanging in there. Enjoying all the excitement online. We've had a lot of great things happening. Online classes. Is it a resist originally or just a light gray? It's just a light gray printing. They're just pre-printed in a light gray. Okay, so I'm gonna emboss this in embossing powder. This is liquid platinum. It's a really pretty platinum metallic. Just taking off the excess powder. And if you see any areas where you have some stray powder, you could get just a paintbrush and brush that off. If you have areas where you messed up a little, you could see I kind of messed up on that T, we can go back and fix that once the powder is melted. So I will show you how to do that next. So just returning the excess back to the jar. Yes, so you do these and especially these pens are filled with our exact medium. So we actually, there's the same formula that is in like our embossing ink. Perfect medium is a little bit stickier, but this ink works for both processes, and we actually we send the people who make our pens the ink to fill, and they're actually nice and juicy. They don't dry out, and you do have that open time on your when you're lettering, so you don't have to worry about, you know, having to rush. And you could have, and I probably should have done this, I always forget, I could have rubbed the anti-static pouch over top, and just so I wouldn't have had any lingering areas here. But we can just clean it up a little bit with our, tap the back just a little. But I do have some stray powder for some reason. My hands have ink, residual ink on them, which might have caused a problem. But okay, so that's pretty good. So then we're just gonna heat that. Let me get my heat gun here. Is it like a Versamark pen? We don't make Versamark, so I'm not too familiar with their products, but I would think so. This is our Literate medium pens. They're similar to our Ranger embossing pens. They come in 4 different tip sizes, so while I'm heating this, I could talk about these again. They're 4 different tip sizes. We have a fine tip, a broad tip, a bullet tip, and a brush tip. And they work with embossing powders as well as perfect pearl powders. So either one. Okay, we're starting to melt a little. Hi, Terry. Hi, Janine. Oh, you're welcome, Ellie. And I'm working on the Literate sentiment pack. So they're pre-printed cards. They come in 2 different styles with different sayings. They look like this, and they're pre-printed with like a light gray light gray ink, and then they're just designed that you can easily trace over them with any medium you'd like, whether that be a marker, a pen, the medium pens to emboss or perfect pearls with, and Really fun to decorate. You can actually even do them with like liquid pearls and stickles if you have a really good hand, or like a fine tip applicator helps with that. Lots of different uses here. Okay, that looks pretty melted. So I'm gonna just go ahead and clean up some areas that I, get that bullet tip back, that I kind of, you know, was a little sloppy with. That's the good thing with this, is that you can go back in and clean some areas up. So I'm just going to go back over with my pen in those areas that I want to kind of fix a little bit. If I missed a spot or was just uneven, I can just go right ahead, trace back over, kind of even everything back out. But you know, the gray is really just a guide for you. So keep in mind, it doesn't have to be perfect. It should look like, you want it to look like you wrote this, right? That's the, it's like tricking people a little bit. You know, you could say, oh, look at this hand lettered card. I didn't melt all my powder there. Gotta make sure I get that. Okay, and then you just re-sprinkle your powder back in those areas. So just kind of go back over it. Like so. And here's my scrap paper. I always like to just brush it off onto a scrap paper like that. Clean off any stray powder. I don't know why I'm getting a lot of stray powder on this card. I must have had something on my fingers. So you want to make sure your fingers are nice and clean when you're working with embossing powder. If you have an embossing, an anti-static pouch, that's good to wipe over your surface. Ranger makes one. I have one here. Let me see. Of course I'm not seeing it offhand, but yeah, if you have like an anti-static tool, just basically powder inside, or chalk inside. Ours is talc free, so if you're worried about talc, ours is talc free. I know I don't have good handwriting either, Diane, so this really makes it easy. It gives you that hand lettered look that's so popular, but without actually being able to hand letter, which is super helpful. Hi Karen, thanks for tuning in. Okay, so now we're just reheating the areas that we kind of went back in to fix. And the powders just kind of melt back into each other. So if you miss an area or don't like how an area came out, you can always go back and fix it. So this is just super simple, super easy, but really you can get some really nice results and you can have fun with it. Okay. So just reheating those areas. You do want to make sure that everything is heated nicely. Of course I see an area that I missed again, but I'm just gonna pretend that this is absolutely perfect. So once it's all heated and the powder is melted, then what you can do is you can apply your ink behind it, and I would recommend pretty much any kind of dye ink, oxide ink. That's what actually I'm going to use today, is some oxides, because I like the way they blend. But basically the embossing powder will resist the ink, so you can ink the entire background. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use Speckled Egg and Milled Lavender and Tattered Rose, kind of going for this kind of playing on the vintage pastel shades, I guess, if you will. I really like that color combination. And I'm just using an ink blending tool. And this one I did a gradient, so I just blended down. I don't know, maybe this one I'll mix up and I'll do like kind of all over, like not really as a gradient. So let's go in with that speckled egg first, because I know everyone's dying to see this in action. So just getting some speckled egg down. I usually work in areas of 3, or at least try to, and you can go back in and blend some more once you get your colors down. Then I'll use milled lavender and powdered rose here. I really love these colors. So, and then you can get some nice cross blends in between, which is really pretty. I just want to make sure I'm in the scene here. And, you know, I'm not a great blender, so don't judge me on my blending, but I will say that oxides are very forgiving, and I feel like they make everybody's blending look good. So if you haven't tried oxides for blending, I highly recommend them. The colors are definitely a little bit more muted than traditional ink pads because they do have that white pigment in there, but they're beautiful. And then here we have that tattered rose, which is just a beautiful kind of peachy pink. And the great thing about, you don't have to worry about really cross-contamination too much. Like, I feel like they all kind of blend really nicely together, even though they don't belong next to each other on the color wheel. So, and you can see how that speckled egg really does transform. Tim really talked about that on his live a lot today, of that it's kind of that chameleon color that kind of morphs and blends, and you can see it's just that really beautiful, it's blue, but it has green, it's got some gray, it's really interesting. Then what I like to do is I just take a dry cloth, paper towel, anything like that, and I just go over my letters just to get any ink that might, you know, have sat kind of on top there. Just blend that out. But you can see here, like, really effortless blending, just really a matter of tracing and embossing and then ink blending. Super simple, super quick and easy. You can take your spray bottle and get those little droplets going, however you want to do that. Hit it with the heat tool. Yeah, it is the sherbet colors. Very true. I'm just blotting some of those big, larger ink spots of water. Just oxidize that a little bit. It just adds a little something to the background. I feel like I need another like big one over here. So I'll just add a little bit more. Repeat the colors, sure. So this is the brand new speckled egg, which is the brand new oxide ink color, and then milled lavender and tattered rose. And the embossing powder is liquid platinum embossing powder. Okay, so then once we have that done, you could always go in then, and I decorated with the little stickles and liquid pearls. What I went and I outlined some of my letters, I put in some little dots. Whatever you want to do, obviously the options for that are endless. I'm going to grab just a little combination here. I think I'm going to leave off the tracing with the stickles, but you can just go ahead and just find like 2 or 3 areas to add some little groupings of dots. I always think that's like just a nice little accent. So just some stickles and liquid pearls. I like to use them together. A little pop of color. So there you have it. And then what I did on this one is I actually just trimmed it just down a little bit, maybe less than 1/4 inch around, maybe 1/8 of an inch. And then I just mounted it onto, this is a Wendy Vecchi Perfect Gray folded card. Hey Jen, you missed the beginning. Oh, sure, Jen. So actually this is our Ranger Literate sentiment pack. So a lot of people don't know these exist, but they're pre-printed packs. And they have greetings pre-printed on them that you then trace in whatever medium you want. We embossed today, but you could do markers and pens or perfect pearls, anything like that, and you just decorate them. So they're just for an easy, quick card, just like what I did here. And if anybody is tuning in late, definitely one, share the video because you'll be entered to win a prize, and just comment that you've shared. But also, second thing, all of our replays will be up. It lives on Facebook, so you can catch the replay there, but I also post it to YouTube and our website, so at any time you can always go back and watch from the beginning. But Literate sentiment packs, it's just a white cardstock with a gray printing, and you can see the oxides work great on there. So that is card number 1 with using the new speckled egg. So that was exciting. I'm glad to have got to share that. So I'm gonna put that aside to dry. And our next thing, we're gonna move into the die cuts. And I love these personally. And I love how this card came out. So I'm gonna do one just like that for you guys. And so the cool thing about the die cuts is that you can use them as is. They're foiled silver and gold. So you could easily use those as is, but you could also colorize them, which I think is so cool. Let's see, somebody said, show the other stickles enhanced card again. Oh, the one I just did? So I did this one, which is hello. So I just embossed the same way, and then I just traced around. It didn't come out as well as I hoped. So I'm not a good, when I go to put the shadow in, I don't know, I always like feel like I do it wrong. But I just added a little stickles outline. Listen guys, I'm not afraid to tell you that my stuff doesn't come out perfect, but I still think it's pretty. So I just outlined with a little, this is mercury glass stickles, and we are constantly like retiring stickles and coming out with new stickles. So some of these colors may not be available that I use, but I guarantee you if it's not available, there is one close to it that is. So I know mercury glass, there's platinum, there's a lot of different stickles colors that are similar. So if I ever use a liquid pearl, I usually don't look at my liquid pearls and stickles colors. I just pull whatever I have from the bin, because we're continually like discontinuing or releasing new, and there's always something that is pretty similar. So if you ever can't find the exact color I use, I guarantee there'll be one like similar. So, and then this is just kind of another version of this card. I just used a different sentiment from the sentiment pack, and I didn't accent it with the stickles, but you can certainly do that. I just, for time, thought this looks great. But I do think that the added stickles on that shadow makes just like a really pretty pop. So just 2 different options for you guys. And yes, that green blue color is the speckled egg. Here, I'll give it another look. It is a chameleon, I will tell you. That was what Tim was saying, and it is true, because when I put this down by itself, it looks one way. When I put a different color next to it, it looks a different way. It's a really pretty color. And I love these color combinations. That is probably one of my favorite color combos. And actually, if you add a little stormy sky into this, that's really pretty too. Okay, so moving on, because I can talk about those color combinations forever. Okay, so we can actually colorize these amazing die cuts. So let's go ahead and pick one. I think I'm gonna go, I love this one. It's probably one of my favorites. It's Thanks, You're the Best. So let's go in with that. And I like to color these with regular, you could use Wendy Vecchi Make Art blendable inks. You could use Simon Hurley dye inks. You could use Distress dye inks. Pretty much any dye ink. I don't really use the oxide on here. I find that the richer the color, the better, because you really have to kind of get a lot of ink on there for the color to really pop. These they are printed on what I would say is a gloss cardstock, or a semi-gloss. So in order to get that ink to really stay, I prefer to use a dye ink. So today I am going to use Distress inks. I got my little, I'm just using the mini inks here. I'm going to go bright colors for this, although I guess I could switch it up. Oh, do you guys want to see more speckled egg? Why not? I guess I'm going to use the speckled egg. Let's pick other colors though. Let's do speckled egg with, let's see, we'll go brighter. I'll do the fossilized amber and maybe, I don't know, abandoned coral? No, I feel like that might, evergreen bough. I love evergreen bough. So maybe we'll do that. Maybe we need like, let's do, I don't know. I'm not sure. Not sure what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna see. I'm just gonna play. See what happens. Okay, let me get some blending tools. I had my foam set up for these bright colors because I love that card. But we'll switch it up. I know. We'll just see how this goes. Yes, more egg. Everybody wants to see the speckled egg. It's like, oh, the new toy, right? It's the new toy on Christmas morning. That is for sure. All right, this is spun sugar. So let's see. So I'm just colorizing this here. I'd like to really try and put a lot of color on there. This actually might be a little too pale. I find that the bold colors work the best for this, but I can always, maybe I'll put some abandoned coral on there. Oh, how about shades of blue? I could do that. Okay, you want to see that? Shades of blue. All right. Hasn't dried yet, so could just wipe it off. These take a little bit of time to dry, so you do have some open time. All right, so I'm going to start then with speckled egg. These are brand new foams, so just a tip, you know, I feel like you always get better ink coverage when your foam is used. Getting a new foam takes a minute to like get started to me. All right, so here we go, speckled egg first. I'll hold that up so you guys can see it. And then I think we'll go, I don't have a lot of ink colors, of Distress ink colors. I had ordered some from Ranger for my house. Obviously we have everything at the office. But I think some of the colors that put in my order were maybe out of stock at the time. So I only have 8. But that's okay because they're kind of eight of my favorites. I'm just going to use the same foam for this. Okay, now I'm going to go Evergreen Bough. Although, I'm going to do... Yeah, okay. No, I'm going to go Mermaid Lagoon next. It's that brighter blue. Right in the middle. So you can see like the bright shades like really pop on like this for this technique. And then I'm gonna go green, so I'll go Twisted Citron. Oh, this is not Twisted Citron. What am I saying? Cracked Pistachio. Oh my gosh. You won't get tired of it in a few hours. That is true. So fun fact, Cracked Pistachio is actually the first color that released in 2015, which is the last time we released new distress colors. So the first one was Cracked Pistachio that debuted at Creativation Show, and then the last color I'm going to do is Evergreen Bough. I didn't mess these up. I spend a lot of time debating myself too on colors because I'm a little indecisive. I want to go back into Speckled Egg and just add, whoops, I just dropped something as usual. Let's go back into Speckled Egg here. So you can see Speckled Egg is definitely on that lighter side. Of course, the inks are buildable, and we're going to heat set this. So I'm just building some more layers up. It also works well if you heat set it, let it dry a little bit, and then go back and add if you really want to get the colors to pop. What did I drop? I dropped a lid. Okay. I need more Cracked Pistachio. There you go. Into here. Yep, so Cracked Pistachio, first color to debut in 2015. It debuted at Creativation. We had little sayings for each one, and it was the new kid in town, Cracked Pistachio. I always think releasing new colors of distress is so fun, just because the palette is just such a classic palette at this point, that it's really interesting and fun to release new. I'm going to heat set this. So you can see now it's starting to dry, and those colors have kind of like really blended nicely. The brighter blue is Mermaid Lagoon. That was also in the 2015 release. I think I'm like, very well versed in distress color history these days. I've been doing a lot of research. I started working at Ranger when we released the seasonal colors. It looked like a coastal fog color name to me. A little blue, a little gray, a little green. Very true. Yes, that is a great description of that color. So you can see it here. Actually, it looks very blue. Oh, let me get it in there. Because I put it next to that Mermaid Lagoon. and I'm sure they kind of like blended a little bit together, but as you can see, like how nice like this colorizes. So you could really make that, you don't have to do various shades, you could do one shade. You can colorize it any way you like, but I think it's great that like you still have that foil and the ink doesn't sit on the foil. What I would do is like once like I'm sure this is dry, it does take a little bit of time. Like it's pretty dry right now because I heated it. You can again go in with your dry cloth or rag and then just lightly, you don't want to rub too hard, just wipe off the letters. So any ink will just bead up on the letters and won't stay. It won't stick to it. So how pretty is that? So let's go ahead and make a background because I have another little trick to show you guys and keep this train moving. Okay, so I'm gonna put this aside. This is our die cut, foil die cut. And the next thing I want to show you, because this is so cool, and I have to give credit to my friend Colleen. I don't know if she's watching, but she works for Ranger 2, and she was like, we were talking about ideas for the lives, and she was like, you have to show the Literate pens as a resist, because they work really good for that, and apparently that is very popular right now. So that's what I'm going to show you guys. So I'm actually going to go in. I got my Make Art station here. Let's pull this up. I know this is very beachy. My whole house looks like this. That is like my favorite colors right there. Every time I'm like, I'm not going to do blue or green, and then I pick something that's blue or green or teal or blue, green, green, blue. Okay, we're gonna keep that in there. We're gonna put this down. All right, let's get a stencil, and I'm gonna use, I actually love this polka dot stencil. This is a Literate stencil. We came out with it, I believe, at Creativation this year. It's called polka dotting, but it's these really big, fun polka dots. Colleen is here. Hi, Colleen. So Colleen, I hope this is what you were talking about. Because if not, I'll have to do another video with what you were talking about. But so anyway, she told me that the perfect medium pens make a great resist. And now you can do a pre-printed, you can do your own inked background and do this on top, but I thought I would try it on black. I thought it was very striking. So we're just gonna secure our stuff in place with some magnets. Just put this down here. And I'm gonna go in with one of the bigger tips. Of course, it's, there we go. So I'm gonna go in with the broad tip, and let me hold this card up close so you can see what I'm talking about. Can you guys see that there's those big polka dots in the back? So this is just with the Literate, the medium pens. So I just put the medium pen on the black cardstock, and it creates this like tonal effect, which is really cool. And you could heat set it so it dries so that, you know, you don't get stuff sticking to it. And so listen, this is all you do. Like, we're just coloring in dots. That's it. So I'm just gonna, and I just like these because these dots are really big and it takes up less time to do this because you can use a bigger pen. And you can emboss these. If you want to go ahead and emboss this, you can emboss it with clear embossing powder. If you want it to be like really a lot more shiny. You could use the flurry powder would look really pretty here, which is, I did a video on speckled embossing powders, but like the flurries powder has a clear base to it, and then it just shows like that really pretty glitter, like glitter and gold. I actually have it in this. This is the exact thing I did here. So that's the flurries powder in polka dots. So you could go ahead and emboss on top of this, but I'm just showing another way to use it just on its own to make these kind of tonal backgrounds. So you just keep coloring in, color in the circles. Let's move this over. When I use the station, the Make Art station, to hold down a stencil, just make sure you're holding down your cardstock and your stencil. So, you know, if that means you have to move your magnets around while you work, that's okay. Can you guys see the, can you guys see the ink? Probably not. It might be hard to see, but once it's dry, we can hold it up. Let me put this back down so you guys can see what. I don't know if that's really showing on the camera. It's a really pretty, just subtle background, which I like. And these pens, they're very very juicy, so they color very easily. To cover these big areas is not a problem. Yes, you can doodle in those big dots too, Colleen. Oh, that would be so fun to do. You know, I'm going back to the mark making. To go back and do different mark makings in them would be fun. Like dots in one, stripes in one. That might be another video, you guys. You guys loved the mark making video. If you haven't seen it, go back a couple weeks. Found object mark making. That was probably the most viewed Facebook Live video I've done yet. She answered the question for me earlier. The medium stays wet on the paper quite for a while. Oh yes, yeah. You have a lot, a good amount of working time on here. This is still all wet. I could easily emboss this still if I wanted. Even this pen, which is very fine, let me show you guys. This is the fine tip. It has a plastic nib. Let me get it in this. It's hard for me to, there we go. It has a plastic nib, and it's very tiny, but it still works really well. Okay, so this is it. So I just colored in circles with the medium pen. I lift this off and I get a really fun background, and then I'm just gonna heat set this. Oh, dot painting inside would be cool. Yes, so many ideas. I'm still hung up on the dotting. Like, this is coming up. I'm not gonna do all of this on camera today, but like I went a little dot crazy with one of the sentiments while I was preparing for this video. I'm still hung up on the dotting. I love polka dots, obviously. Okay, so you can just heat set this. That should be pretty good. And then you have a fun tonal polka dot background. It's gonna look great when we put our sentiment on top of it. Something like that. And then let's make a little background for that. I like how I did this background here. So I'll just take a white card base. Literate has a bunch of surfaces. We have black and white cardstock panels. We also have gray and ivory. So 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 panels. I am just going to ink this in kind of the same colors that I did the sentiment. So let's just course, Speckled Egg. And you don't have to ink the entire thing because you're going to cover it. So you just want to make sure you get that outer edge. Then I did Mermaid Lagoon. Hey Jill, yes, of course, if you just share the video, you will have a chance to win. We give away 2 prizes every week. Okay, this is that Mermaid Lagoon. And this is where my bad blending becomes apparent. But that's okay. We are gonna cover most of that. All right, next color was Cracked Pistachio. Is that Robin's Egg? It is this color right here is the new Speckled Egg Distress ink. So it's that really pretty mix of blue and green and has some gray tone in it, but it's not gray. It's definitely a blue color. It's very interesting. It's a very pretty color. Oh, Sherry, I would have been sad if you missed it. But you could always catch the replay if you do. And you can always share the video later as well. All right. Okay, then we're gonna do Evergreen Bough. I know that Speckled Egg is really pretty. This Evergreen Bough is like very juicy. Like that's a lot on there. I gotta blend that out. Remember that for this side here. Of course, I'm getting my hands all inky. Okay, we're gonna end back with Speckled Egg. Okay, that looks okay. I'm getting off the, I'm sliding here on my Wendy Becky station. It's because I don't have anything down. There we go. Let's get, ink blending is relaxing. I feel like ink blending stresses, oh yeah, I did, okay. Stresses me out. I'm better when I have like oxides, because like I said, oxide is like the beginner's blending ink. You can't mess it up. So if you haven't tried ink blending with oxides, I recommend that. But I love the punchiness of the Distress ink too. So place for both. Okay, so then I'm gonna trim this and we're gonna just mount it to here. See how that. And so you guys, if you're still following, still don't have a paper trimmer. So, I never got the one I ordered, and I am kind of giving up hope on that. So quick trim, be right back. Trimming off to the side here. Just gonna take 1/4 of an inch off of this black cardstock so that we can see our nice, pretty blended backgrounds. I cut with an X-Acto knife and ruler. If you're just tuning in and haven't heard me talk about this every week. And in the beginning, I was like pre-cutting everything. And then I was running out of time to do that. I know, I think they're sold out of it because we don't make the paper trimmers, we just carry them. And I'm guessing we don't have any more, maybe. Okay, so let's put this together. And I think, so on this card here, I stamped You Did It. This is the Literate stamp set. I love this stamp set. I've used it a bunch of times on here. But it's the little things, and it just has these really simple, clean font. It has a ton of combinations of words. So I just did You Did It on a little white thing and did some liquid pearls dots there. So for this, because it says You're the Best, I'm not gonna do that. I think I'll just leave that as is. So let's glue this down. I'm using Wendy Becky Perfect Card Adhesive. It is a really great wet adhesive if you like using wet adhesives because you can get super fine lines there. It dries completely clear and it's not sticky. So like Wendy always talks about like how it doesn't make your fingers sticky. Like if you get it on your fingers, they're not going to be all like gummy and gluey. And it's very true. So it is a great liquid adhesive, and she has a bunch of like really awesome techniques that she does. She actually does a resist with this glue. If you haven't seen it, you can go to our website and look at our videos, and there is a perfect card adhesive video that she shows it in. But okay, so we just glue this down here. So really pretty black. I love all the blues in the background, very beachy. And then I'm gonna just raise this up with some foam. So we have 3 foams in Literate. So we have the black foam here, which I'm gonna use. We have white foam, and then a lot of people don't know we have actually what we call clear foam. And clear foam is kind of a like jelly material, if you will, but it is a dimensional adhesive. So like you would use it as though you would use like the adhesive foam, and so it raises your stuff up, but you can see it's clear. So let's see if I can get that really in there. There you go. So it's like this clear, kind of like a jelly, but you just would cut a strip just like you would regular like black or white foam. And my daughter Savannah, if you watched the card making video with us, she calls this the boosting tape or something like that. It's like the most brilliant word ever, and I feel like somebody's got to come out with a product that's called the boosting tape. She's like, you're gonna give that a boost? So cute. Okay, so we're using black foam today just because I have black cardstock. The clear foam would work too, though. I got my scissor. My scissor. So funny story, right before I came live, I realized I had 2 completely different earrings on. I just am saying that because they're sitting on my desk and I just noticed that, but it made me laugh and I was like, well, that would be interesting, huh? There's been a clear foam. Yes, we came out with the clear foam. It's been a while now. But again, many wonderful hidden Ranger products. So we're gonna start a series called it's like like how Starbucks has the hidden drink menu. We're gonna have the hidden Ranger product menu. All right, so just adding some foam here. We also have a double stick tape as well. If you don't like a wet adhesive, we have a very strong Literate double stick tape. It's called double stick tape, in case you're looking for that. And I really like that. It's really sticky, but it's just a lot of peeling backings off on camera. And no matter what I do, it always doesn't go smoothly. But I actually have grown to really become attached to the liquid adhesives. I like to use multimedia matte, or I've been using a lot of Wendy's card adhesive too. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna stick this down onto here. Thanks, you're the best. Let's try it this way. I kind of like that. Kind of fits nicer. I'm gonna do that. Do the foams come in larger sizes? The foam tapes, no, they just come in this roll. It's a 2-yard roll. This kind of got smudged a little. Okay. So there you have it, guys. I really think these came out really cute. You could even add some like liquid pearls, like accents around that if you wanted to, like some blue and green would look really pretty actually. I might go back and do that later. So that is my next card. Okay, and then let's move on. I think we have time for one more quickie. And I just wanted to show you, I talked about these before, but we do have these Literate tags. These are sorted number 1, number 2, and number 3 tags. They're like perfect for gifting. And we have them in both the black and white and the gray and ivory. But you can use them for little, you could use your die cuts or whatever right on top of there. So quick and easy gift tag. So, and actually maybe really quick, I'll show you guys, if you did an inked background. So let's just say, let me just pull out a quick tag here. And let's just say, I'll do, of course, Speckled Egg again. This is ink. I'm just gonna cover the whole thing, I think, with Speckled Egg. So pretend this is a inked background. It could be one color, it could be multiple colors, whatever inky background you want to make. And then you could use the, I want to see if the resist would work on top of that the same way it should, the pen. So this is our heart stencil here. It's called Shredding Hearts. I really like this stencil a lot. And let's just... And so the same technique of just tracing this. I wonder if this would work. And maybe this background isn't dark enough. I think if you had a really inky background, this would show up good. But I'm actually having a hard time seeing it. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. This is the only way to know what works and what doesn't work, by the way, guys. Doing it and seeing what happens. Okay, so I'm just doing this really quick. So I'm gonna see when I lift it if I could see like a difference. And you know, if it doesn't work, so we cover it with embossing powder. That's it. I don't know if I got these hearts. My tag is so little it's slipping. Okay, so I don't know, you can see it like a real little bit. I would think if you had a really inky background, you could do that, but if not, so since it didn't work, what I would do is I would just cover it with powder. Hey, you know what I'll do? Because I can. Speckled Egg Embossing Glaze. Does the dye come off of your pen you're using? Yeah, I don't, like I just traced with that one and it didn't transfer on. And if it does, you can just go on a piece of scrap paper and just kind of color a little bit and clean it up. That's a good one from Dina. It's paint and paper, they'll make more. That is very true. Right, so I don't know that I colored the whole heart background, but that's all right. So this is Speckled Egg Embossing Glaze, if you haven't used that. We just came out with Embossing Glaze. Oh, you know what? I think my ink is still a little wet. I think it just kind of covered the whole background. That's okay. You want to make sure your ink is dry, by the way, because embossing powder will stick to wet ink. But Embossing Glaze, we just came out with in January. And so the cool thing about Embossing Glaze is that it's an embossing powder, but it's translucent for you guys, if you're new to that. So I've had the new color for quite some time, Terry. We've had this new color ready to rock and roll since before COVID started. And I had 2 sets in a bin in my desk. And so when I came to work at home, I just was like, can someone pull the bin from my desk? And I just threw the whole bin in my car, and that was in there. So luckily for me, I have it here. So I have actually the whole set, which is great, because I could use it to show you guys. Oh, good, Jen, I'm glad. So the cool thing, and you can't really see it now because I used it on the same color, but it just works just like an embossing powder, except it's translucent. So you could actually, it's a color, but you could see things below it. It's not opaque like our Ranger brand embossing powders. I really wish I had my baby wipes. I don't know where they went to. I don't know. All right, so you can actually see a little bit of the heart there. You see the heart showing through? It's very subtle, you see it? But then I put the glaze on top, and the glaze is what you would think of a glaze. It's shiny and translucent, and you can see the hearts. So just want to show you that you could do numerous things with that, and then you could stamp on this, anything you want, and make a little gift tag. You could add it to a card. The bigger size tags like this one, a lot of the die cuts fit right on top of there, so you could just put that right on top of it. Oh good, you could see it. Yeah, so you could see the little light pattern, so that's pretty cool. I think that's like a really fun, subtle technique. So that is that. I'm gonna move on to one more last thing, and then we'll wrap this up. Like yesterday I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do for my video, and like then I get started and I like can't stop. So let's do, so I'm just gonna share this really quick. I'm not gonna do all that dotting work, but I do think this is a fun way to decorate these sentiment packs. So I wanted to show, I'm gonna try to find one that has like a small amount of words. So it's kind of like an amped up resist. Do you mean the heart tag, I'm assuming? Yeah, it's like a resist and then with glaze on top. I don't know. Let's see what one I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do with Cheers because that's small. So what I did here is I traced the Celebrate with the Literate fine liner pens. So I have the black ones, but we do have them in 2 packs of colored. And if you haven't tried them, and you're a pen person, you really should. I highly recommend these. Again, if I had to choose a product to be on the secret Ranger menu, it would be fine liner pens. These are like a micron pen. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that or not. But they are a really, these are the black ones. They come in 3 different point sizes. from a 09 to an 01 and an 04. So 3 different tip sizes. And these are just the black set. And I will tell you, if you like a good pen, these are really nice pens. And we also have them in colors as well. So they come in Resort, which is like purple and orange, and there's like a blue in there. It's like 5 different colors. And then there's Classic, which has like your classic red, green, blue, gray, that sort of thing. And those are all the same tip ties. I believe they're like an 05, but the black it's a pack of 3 with 3 pens. And these are really, again, if you love, if you're a pen person, we're calling these fine liner pens. These are really nice pens. And I'm going to use the biggest tip here, which is the 09. And again, I'm just going to trace this gray pre-printed sentiment pack here. This is Cheers. And then color this in. You could use Dilutions paint pens on these. You could use, we have Literate metallic markers that are really pretty, distress markers, any medium you want. You could use the Literate pens that I just used earlier, anything. And I kind of messed up a little bit there, but that's okay. So, and the great thing is, because we have the different sizes of these pens, if there's some really like fine lines you want to go over instead of using a thicker tip, you can. So like I'm going to do all the thick ones to start. Are the pens archival ink? So they are not archival ink. And I'm trying to recall if they're waterproof. I want to say they're like not waterproof, but they're like semi-permanent, where like once they set, they're not gonna come off easily. But I don't know if they're completely waterproof. And maybe Colleen, if you're listening, if you know for sure that answer. But I know they're not archival formula. I hope that helps. So my husband is running the dustbuster right now, and I don't know if you can hear that in the background. But my son is scared of the vacuum and the dustbuster. So all I hear is, I'm scared. He's 2. The dots, there are liquid pearls around and stickles in the middle. And I will tell you that maybe it took me 15 or 20 minutes to do. It goes pretty fast once you get into like the swing. Candy dots. I love those candy dots. I haven't had those in years. At least he's cleaning, I know. My husband is good. I have no complaints. We actually just bought a new area rug, so I think he's getting ready to take out the old one and put down the new one, if I had to guess. And my son was napping, but well, I guess it's been like 2 hours. The pens look nice. Yeah, they're really nice pens. Very easy to use. They color nicely. They're great if you are a bullet journaler, if you work in your dialogue, anything like that. Journaling, they're really nice pens. And the colored ones are really nice too. I'll definitely link to them in my supply list so you guys can check them out. My hand is cramping a little. Kind of messed up here. Let's fix that. All right, last letter, guys. Oh, yes. Do you need to be careful with those pens when using them with a stencil? Like Diane says, the stencil will cut through the pen and ruin it. These have a different tip than Diane's pens. Diane's pens have like a valve action tip. And I know we've used these through a stencil many times without a problem. So I'm gonna say no, you shouldn't have a problem going through a stencil with these. I believe these have, this is a plastic tip or a felt tip. I think it's a plastic tip. But they're not valve action like hers. And hers are very fine as well. So we have not had a problem with going through the stencil. Okay, so I'm gonna leave that as that. So there you go, colored in the cheers. Oh, thanks for sharing the dot painting video. Yeah, I mean, this one is really fine, which is the 04, I think it is. It's the smallest. Let me see if you guys can see this. It's like, it's really small. But no, haven't had a problem. This one I would say be a little careful with, because it is really fine, but if you pushed really hard, you could probably break that. But we haven't had the problem with the stencil. Okay, so then we're gonna go ahead and use our liquid pearls. And I'm using, these are colors we released last year. They were like kind of a neon assortment of colors. And I really think they're fun. So lightning, shocking, dazzle, brilliant, electric, and outrageous. And fun fact about these is they actually do glow in the dark. So if you put them under a black light, they'll like glow. They're really cool. So I just went ahead and just went around and dotted. You could use the Make Art Stylus for this. And I know Jen talked about my dot art video, so that would explain a lot too, but you could use this stylus, which makes amazing, really nice dots. I'm just going right to paper for this because of time, but you can use the stylus to go ahead and dot, and I think I'll just do like one row of the colors so you guys can see it. And I just want you to see too, like how this like really changes the card, and how really easy it is. And liquid pearls, they're really easy to use. They're really fun, really amazing colors to choose from. And once you kind of get into this pattern of knowing kind of like how hard to squeeze the bottle, and you're just lightly squeezing and tapping, it's really foolproof. And you can see I'm getting pretty evenly sized dots really quickly. I'm kind of getting off the camera a little bit, so let me move this back up. Oh yeah, thanks Colleen. Yes, 2 packs. 2 packs of 5. So there's classic and resort. So the classic has like red, green, blue, gray, and one other color, I'm not really sure which one. Red off the top of my head. Green, I didn't say green. So like basically your classic colors. And then there's like resort, which are like purple, and there's an orange in there, yellow, really pretty colors in that resort pack. Okay, so dotting. And just so you know, in the Literate line, we do have what we call, I don't know why I can't think of what we called them. Like embellishment sets. I'm going to think of the name in a minute, but it comes with 2 stickles and 1 liquid pearls. And they're, you know, the same as what we carry in our liquid pearls and stickles line, but they're just packaged together, so you could buy, they coordinate. So there's two stickles and 1 liquid pearls in each set, and I know there's a bright set that has some of these bright colors in it. And why can't I think of the name? Colleen, do you know the name of those packs? It's not embellishment. But it's just another way to buy the liquid pearls and stickles. And because they coordinate together, like I like to use the liquid pearls and stickles together a lot, so. Deco details, yes. So those have liquid pearls and stickles together. All right, yellow, we're getting there, guys. This is gonna be worth it when it's done though. I'm really on this dotting kick. Maybe I'm gonna challenge myself next week to not show any dots. Not have any dots next week, maybe. Maybe I'll move on to stripes. Those are my favorite things. Dots, stripes, and flowers. Yeah, and you can see it goes fast. Like I said, once you really get into the groove of the dotting, and you can dot in different patterns. You don't have to dot like this. You could dot just a little bit. You could mix and match. It's really fun to accent these like this. And then last color, actually 2 more colors. We have Brilliant and Dazzle. I have a steady hand and eye. Thank you. I think you'll see if you try this, it's really a feeling. And you just get in the groove of it. All right, blue at the bottom. That looks so fun. I actually really like how this came out. So you could obviously just leave this right as is. I would mount it to a folded card. My blue is getting a little, I need a scrap paper. Sometimes like the flow gets, I do think that, I don't know if it gets air inside, but sometimes the bottle is just like hard to squeeze, or like there's some dried in the tip. So I just have to open it back up. I don't know. I'm having a hard time squeezing this blue one for some reason. It just worked fine up there. It's like there's air in the, let's see if I have another one. There's like air in the, that's what it feels like to me, that there's like air in the bottle. Sorry guys, I'm gonna see if I have another one of those. Which I do. Let's see. There we go. I don't know what happened to that one. It was working fine. It might just need to like settle back down, but like, I'll show you guys in case this ever happens to you. I can only squeeze there. It won't squeeze anymore. So I don't know if it just needs to settle back. I do think sometimes the air gets inside or something, like an air bubble trapped or something. I don't know how, but that's what it feels like. So I'm gonna let that kind of settle back down and see if I can get that one flowing again. Okay, now Dazzle, last color, you guys. And listen, my dots are not perfect. They're not all the same exact size, but that doesn't bother me. And these, especially these bright colors, I find that these really round out nice. They create those really nice round dots very easily. Okay. Oh, thanks, Linda. To have so much patience. Well, that didn't take like that long. And then what I did is I went in with Unicorn, which is this white stickles, and I filled in the like center areas here. So like around the cheers, like in the middle. Okay, so just a little stickles in the middle. Yeah, so Colleen, is that what it is? It has to be an air bubble because it feels like it's gonna combust. Like you could actually feel the pressure in the bottle. And yeah, we don't need a craft disaster. So we just need to let that air bubble kind of settle off here. If you ever get that where all of a sudden you're squeezing and it's coming out and then all of a sudden it stops, it's got to be an air bubble. That's the only thing. So we got to let that kind of settle. But okay, look at that. How fun is that? So look, you could leave this as is, right? You can trim around here if you want and then mount this to black. That would look really pretty. I'm not going to touch it because it's super wet. You can go all the way around. Like here, I started repeating. So I just filled the whole background. Any of those options. There's so many options, but I'm going to leave that to dry. And I think I'm going to call it a day. We have some really great cards today. Let me pull these back down. Really fun, colorful. We had some fun with that speckled egg, that newbie. 2 versions of this card here. And then of course this guy. 2 versions of that card. I can't even fit everything in the screen here. I don't want to mess my cheers up. So I hope this gave you some ideas of what you could do with those sentiment packs and die cut packs. Again, super easy to use and make really fun, easy cards without like a ton of work. Let me switch the camera around and say goodbye. But thank you all for tuning in. I hope that was fun. Again, here, I'll bring these up. We were playing with the sentiment packs and the foil packs from the Literate line. I will link all the supplies in the description. I'll go ahead and do the supply list and so that you can see everything that I used today. If you have any questions, just drop them in the comments. I always try and go through the comments and answer as much as I can. We will be back next Wednesday at 3 o'clock with another live. Thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this video today. If you did, be sure to share it so you can win your prize. Have a great rest of your week, and I will see you next week, everyone.